And
Hey
Roadblock.
there! Hey there! What do you say there, world? We are back with so much energy, so much love and passion for this race, because this has to be the best episode of the season.
But not so much voice, right?
No, my voice is terrible. My name is Justin.
Diana.
This is James Earl from Team Alabama.
And special guest,
Korey.
hey!
Yay!
Hello.
So pumped.
My favorite, my team.
All right, so before we get to the recap, you know how this works. We hang out with Korey, we talk some junk, we can talk about any episodes, including this episode. As you can hear, my voice is tore up from Reality Rally. We were out there having a great time in Temecula. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google it, put that in a separate tab, and check it out later. It's amazing. So James Earl is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting today, and I really appreciate that.
It's no problem. I love doing this because this was such a good episode. And I want to talk to Korey a lot about the past 2 episodes. But instead of focusing on just all the negative, I do want to point out that the first 5 episodes, y'all killed it. Like, absolutely killed it. So I don't want to, just gloss over that because there's no, y'all got, 3 second place and 2 first place finishes.
Yeah.
All that being said, some interesting stuff is in the last 2 episodes with y'all.
We just didn't want to get all 1s and 2s. We're like, let's see what it's like to be at the back of the pack.
It's not fun. As someone who's at the back of the pack a lot, it is not fun.
No, it's not fun.
Tell us what it's like.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding. Come on, you're on my team.
I'm like, leg 1, it was just like your guys' leg 1.
Oh, you're right, because we both cried. No, this is going to be such a fun episode to recap, and obviously, thank you for taking time. You were down in Australia with Tyler doing your tour thing, and I really appreciate it, especially with yesterday's mix-up, so thank you, guys.
Oh, no worries. It's bright and early in the morning here today. So.
All right, so get to it.
I really just want to jump into this dance because
Go for it. I mean,
damn,
okay.
Not even slow start. He went right.
I just went right for the jugular. Not
me
even
with
playing. So, from what I understand, because I've been reading all of y'all's tweets and blogs and all that jazz, you were there for 4 hours doing this.
Yeah, one of our camera crew when we left that day, he had said, I mean, you lose all track of time at any of the challenges. It's like we see tweets and questions, and people are like, how long did it take to thread the rug in Armenia, and how long were you at the dance? And it's like, I think you kind of lose track of time because you're just always so focused on the task. But when we left, when Scott and I left, our cameraman told both of us that it was like 3 to 4 hours that we were there practicing and doing that dance. And Tyler insisted when we left, everyone, when we finally catch up with the teams at the next airport, everyone kind of asked us how long we were there and how many tries it took. Tyler said I was up to like 15 to 20, but I thought it was around like 10 to 12. But it was interesting to see them show, I think they said 7 on TV. I mean, it very well could have been 7. I have no idea. That day was like a blur.
Well, I saw the dance, and I said to Justin, I would have cried. Like, I would do the tango. Our tango now looks like the easiest thing in the world compared to what you had to do. And I'm not going to lie, Korey, when you came out, I laughed.
We both laughed out loud.
Could not help.
Well,
You were so cute, though.
When you see that episode, so when Dana and Matt got lost at the Detour and they came back out when we were leaving the candy, we kind of, I mean, they probably had the same mindset too. We wanted them to stay with us so at least we knew where one other team was. And I'm sure that was probably their mindset too, which is why we were really selling how hard the candy detour was. I mean,
so there was strategy.
Yeah, I mean, we also loved the dancers a lot, so it was a little bit of both. I mean, we wanted to tell them that it was hard. We wanted them to stick around, but in the back of my mind, I wanted to at least know where one of the other teams were. So we had them come with us. Their cab just followed ours to the winery because their guy had no idea where he was going. And we did that task together, and even in the episode, they edited it like Matt and Dana finished and left before we did. We literally finished simultaneously, and they again then left with us to go to the theater. Right. The only reason they beat us there was because our guy stopped for gas. And you also had to drop off, like if you made candy, you had to take candy to this candy shop to get your next clue, and if you made wine, you had to take a box of wine to the same place to get the clue that said to go to the theater. So we stopped to get gas. Anyways, we got to the theater right after they did, and it's like when you got there and you picked your instructor and put on your clothes, you went into a room to watch them do the full performance the first time for your example. Well, because we were like a minute behind Matt and Dana, they had me just run in the room and watch like the second half of her performance, of the demonstration that was for Dana. And it's like I'm putting on my wig and putting on my shoes and not even really paying attention because I'm like, let's just learn the dance. I don't need to see what this demonstration looks like. So it's like when I went in and started learning it, you could tell on my first attempt, I had no idea what the tempo of the dance was. I had no idea how fast you were supposed to be going. And it's like they teach you those steps so slowly. I was like, oh, this is such an easy dance. Like you're just walking through it.
I am glad you cleared that up because when I watched the episode and saw how slow you're doing, I was like, oh, bless.
I know.
That's the part.
And it's every single, Tyler sat there. I mean, I think when we got there, I think even Tyler saw every other team do the dance. So he saw Ashley and Bernie get the clue. He saw Zach and Rachel get the clue. All the teams were there at the same time. Because, you saw Blair and Scott seeing Brody. I think Blair and Scott might not have seen the first two teams leave, but Tyler and I saw everybody, and he said everybody's first attempt was as bad as mine. Nobody knew that you were supposed to let the dancers come out first before you started. He said everyone's tempo was off.
Even Dana?
Yeah, Dana did not get it her first time, I don't believe, and he said she got it on the second time, and it was kind of like she just wanted to do it to nail it. I mean, Tyler might be watching. If he's in the comments, he can say if it was her first or second, but I think it was everyone. No one got it on the first try, not even Matt and Dana.
Wow.
It was her second, because I forget what she did. I don't think she waited until everybody came out, or maybe that was Blair. No, that was Blair. It was Dana.
It was Ashley did that they showed, but it's like, it's like you had to let the dancers come out, and then you started, and it's like, I was going to ask you guys, when you did your dance, you also don't even get to listen to the music when you're learning the dance.
No.
So it's like you have no idea what to do or what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah,
they also did the same thing for us. They didn't show us how to start the dance, so you would go out there and kind of get into position, and then they would fail you because you didn't know how to start it. But they never taught you.
Yeah, we learned we had two different instructors. One was the beginning tango dance where you picked an instructor, and then you got on the wall and you had another kind of set of choreography. And they I thought the stuff I was doing on the wall was what the lady taught me out in the hallway. Didn't know that was the beginning, and then they hook you up to the wall, and then you have another set. So my first attempt, I bombed because I didn't know that I had to put it together until I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why I learned that thing in the beginning.
I think you might have done something. You might have started hashtag choreography might now mean Elaine from Seinfeld, so you might have done yourself.
I think so. Well, they also didn't show. I went through 3 different instructors the whole time I was there. It's like the very first guy just gave up and said I was unteachable. Somebody fix something here. And then they paraded all the other dancers who had already gone, all the other instructors, into the room to let me pick another one. And Tyler and I had just been picking cute guys the whole time we ever had to pick an instructor.
I was about to ask you to pick the cute guy because I know Zach's guy that he chose at first was hot.
Wait, so that was Zach's guy he had was who I had for my second instructor. And again, it was because we were picking cute guys. And it's they were both had no time or patience for me whatsoever. And I was I got very quickly frustrated with him because you would be practicing and I'd be like, can we go try it on the main stage? And he's like, no, you're not ready. And I'm like, just let me try it. I feel like I've got to be really close. And then finally I was like, I can't with this guy because he, again, wasn't helping at all. So finally I found this really nice woman, and it was the woman that Ashley had. And she was so nice and actually encouraging and actually helpful. So
maybe the strategy is not to pick such a good-looking guy.
I know. I'm
pick a girl or pick a guy that you is good-looking.
I can't fault you for that though, Korey, because I did the same dance. The guy I danced with at the tango was the hot one.
See, I picked a girl to dance with because I thought I'd be uncomfortable with a guy trying to show me.
You're breaking all sorts of stereotypes here, the gay guys, you're jocks, and most gay guys got rhythm and know how to dance, but you
I know. I'm much more of a freestyle dancer, I guess. I just like follow my own rhythm.
You gotta have a onesie on to make it right.
Apparently, but yeah, I mean, it was really hard. My feet were. I still have a huge bruise under one of my big toenails. I swear, any day it'll like fall off from the dance, and my pinky toes were like bleeding on both sides from when you had to like do the crossover part. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you watch the episode back, you'll see I actually pulled a track stars, and we just left, and I didn't put my shoes on at all. And
so did Scott. Like, y'all's desperation at the end was like, you could see like y'all both really wanted to stay in.
Yeah, we ran to the cab. I just tucked my shoes in the bag, and it's like if you watch it back, yeah, we're on the mat, and I'm in my socks because I didn't even stop to put my shoes on because we knew it was going to be that close between us and Scott and Blair.
Well, what I really appreciated, and you could tell, you can't fake this, is as soon as you hit the mat, the emotion took over, and you were just, boom, it just came out. And that's the sign that, like, you have passion. You have the passion for the race. And if anybody doubts it, like, just watch the clip. That's not fake. Yeah. That's a genuine...
It took everything in me. I mean, like I said, we were there for 3 or 4 hours, and it took everything in me to not break down and cry while I was, like, learning the dance because it was so frustrating. And I was seeing other teams going, and I'm like, am I letting this dream of mine slip right out of my hands? So it was, I think it's interesting because I watched back and I was surprised they didn't show more of me and Scott practicing and learning it, but it's like neither of us really got frustrated or ever gave up, and it was both of us were just in that room practicing over and over. And our camera crew that day when we finished said, Korey, I can't believe how positive you stayed while learning that dance for as long as you were in there. He was like, well, I've seen so many teams break down and cry and all that, and he's like, you never quit.
Oh.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love the camera guys for reasons like that. Like,
right.
Some of them are really fans. Some of them are really fans, and they get into it.
Some of them are nice, yes. That's
some
true.
of them
so, I mean,
do not care.
That was like the silver lining when you're like waiting to do your like end of episode interview, and he was like, I'm surprised you stayed as positive as you did.
All right, so you also had a lot of issues earlier on in the race, but you overcame those. You guys were attention to detail, things were going great, and then you get to this nuts challenge, which I thought was attention to detail and right up your guys' alley. You string it, you get it on there. What happened? What are you guys losing your edge at this point, or is there something going on here?
Losing our minds, I think. After that day was over, and it was a very long day. When Tyler and I got back to the room, I think I had said to him, that was the first time my gut said to do the other detour, and I didn't speak up. Like, I don't fault him at all or think it's either of our faults for doing candy, but that whole cab ride there, something in my gut was like, you should be cleaning this wine. Like, don't go mess with making this dumb candy. And I never spoke up, and I told Tyler that too that day. I was like, my gut was like, we are not making candy today, which is why once we got our fail, and it's like we only had one of the 5 were successful, like immediately I was like, I should have trusted my gut. That's why I was already leaning toward let's go, let's switch. It was so hard to put those nuts like on the threads. I can't believe those women do that. And
well, if you look, the women too had like bleeding like hands. If you look, they were bleeding. They were struggling too. It wasn't an easy thing.
No.
Yeah, I loved Bernie's comment about we think that's why the candy's red because like you can't make it without cutting your hand and like bleeding in the candy.
You had so many good puns.
I was being super sassy, especially once we got told no, like our candy. When I said to the woman, I was like, you know you're going to eat this after we leave. Like, I was not happy. I'm the type of person who, like, thinks I'm always right and thinks I always do everything correctly on the first try. So when you're in one of these situations and they finally tell you, like, no, you didn't get it, and it's like you had to wash, they didn't show any of this, but you had to wash out that pot with the red gunk in it if you weren't right.
Oh, crap. So you had to, like, redo all of that?
Yeah, and it's like the thing, you weren't allowed to touch the burners to control the heat either for your own like little goop thing. And it's like Brody and I were sitting there stirring, and we could smell that it was burning, And it's like, I think that's why, and we were begging the woman to come turn the stove down, and it's like she was at that point checking on like Zach and Rachel and Bernie and Ashley, and Brody and I are like looking at everyone like, can someone please turn our stove down? So I think it's once we got to start dipping the hazelnuts in the candy, it was already too thick, it was already too like goopy, and we just knew it wasn't going to work.
Oh gosh.
All right, so you broke a lot of our 10 commandments of our rules during this episode, so we can go over a couple of them. One of them is whenever you're being judged, never stop yourself. And James Earl can attest to that because.
I personally can attest to that, and I have it in my notes to mention that later. I'm glad you brought it up.
Don't stop yourself.
Never stop yourself when you're being judged. Let the judge tell you you're wrong. Two, you always got to check your taxi's gas. I mean, I didn't know about that until you just told me.
Every single team, they don't show at all how much you were driving over the city. We were talking in our cast group text. Every single team said they stopped to get gas that day at one point. Yeah. And it's funny. They show Scott and Blair doing it. Every single team stopped to get gas that day.
Because that's the thing that's gonna send them out.
And one of the amendments, one of the things that I learned on the race as well is you have to follow your gut. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. And we lost 2 legs because of that, and that's because it didn't follow your gut. And then you guys.
Or your girl.
Oh, my girl. But you guys have had your bad legs, and I think you got it out of your system, and now you're ready to shake it off and get back to the top. But we'll see what happens.
I will say real quick that I remember, editing kind of ruined the end of this episode for me because, Korey, at the beginning of this episode, you were like, we've had some lows and we've had some highs, but prefer the highs. And I was like, no, y'all haven't had lows. And I was like, crap. And then I realized what that was, and I knew that y'all were going to be like near the back of the pack.
I knew. Right when they showed that clip, I knew it was the end of the leg interview. I could just tell. And I was like, okay, well, they're setting this up to look great.
So what have you learned? What have you learned from the race, Korey? Is there anything that you've learned?
I agree with you as far as just like trusting your gut. I mean, that's a huge race thing, but I also think it's a huge life thing, and just living every day. And I mean, I think I learned. It's like we were fans of the show and we wanted like to be on it, and I was that person who'd always sat on my couch and was like, I can do that, I could do that, and I would do well at that. So for us to go on and do as well as we did in the first 5 legs, I mean, I never imagined it would be that good for the first 5 legs of it. I mean, I thought, okay, as long as we're somewhere in the middle, we're beating out some teams, let's just do this and see how far we can go. And to do as well as we did the first 5 legs, it was just really a dream come true. And I thought, wow, our friendship really is as strong as it appears, and we really do know each other as well as we do, and we really do get along as well in any situation. So
up to this point in the race, did you guys fight at all? Because it doesn't seem like you guys really ever fight.
Yeah, you guys have
no. No, everyone, all of our fans who like tweet and watch were cracking up when Tyler was like doing the nuts, and I'm like, you can do this, Ty, and he's like, I know I can do this. Like, I think that's much more our personality. We do like have a little comments like that to each other from time to time. But, I mean, no, we tell people in general, we've known each other for over 8 years and have been best friends pretty much the whole time, and it's like we have maybe 1 or 2 fights that any of us can even think about ever having.
Wow.
And even then it's like they're jokes. It's not even really like a fight.
That's so awesome, and that's very important. If you guys can keep and maintain that on the race, that makes such a big difference.
Did you find language to be a difficulty this leg? Because it seemed like a lot of people, I know Dana and Matt had trouble trying to communicate to their cab driver where they needed to go. Bernie and Ashley kind of lost first place because their cab driver didn't take them to the right place. Did you find that language was?
It was. I mean, at this point in the race, Tyler and I had awesome cab drivers every time. I mean, maybe in Columbia on day 2 we had he was a little slower on the driving side, but at least he knew where we were going. But, I mean, no, in Georgia, we honestly said we were still alive after that leg because we had the best cab driver in Georgia. Like, he seemed like he was the head honcho of, like, all the other cab drivers. And it's like even then a couple teams said that their cab drivers said they didn't know where that winery was. And when we switched detours, I mean, that was also part of the reason why we knew he was going to know where the winery was. We also kind of thought it was right in that village at first, because we were in this little village. We're like, maybe it's 2 doors down.
Right.
And when we realized it wasn't, we knew we had a great cab driver who was like breaking every speed limit law. And yeah, I mean, you saw at the end of the episode, he ramped the sidewalk and drove us into the park on the sidewalk.
I was going to ask you if that was a cobblestone street or if it was actually a sidewalk.
No, he ramped the curb. I mean, he knew. He came. It had been so long, and we had him waiting for us outside the theater. He came inside and was like watching me dance, and he was like giving Tyler the thumbs up, like, your partner's got this. He was so cute and like nice, and yeah, I mean, he knew. I think there was news outlet following around all the teams that entire day, so I think the cab drivers very quickly figured out that it was a race and that it was a TV show. And so when he saw us running out, he knew it was just the 2 of us left, and it's like he peeled out of that theater.
Wow.
And it's like once we got in the car and we could see Scott and Blair's car, I'm like, there's no way he doesn't know where we're going at this point, because 5 other teams have already been there, and he is going to put the pedal to the metal again, because he was the best cab driver in Georgia. And, I mean, I swear he saved us that day, because he knew everything, and we had no language barrier with him whatsoever.
Oh, that's nice.
I have a comment and a question. First off, Tyler posted in the little chat, 7 years ago, he asked me if my pants were from Baby Gap. That's the biggest fight we ever got in.
Yes, that's true.
That's true.
Question for you, though, because I know a lot of people are debating this, and it's kind of like a double question. How far were Scott and Blair behind y'all, and was the back patch like a deciding factor in this, based off time?
I mean, it's so hard to tell. I mean, it's so interesting, and I mean, that was the first thing my mom said when she called me when she watched the episode. She said, did him grabbing the bag just save you guys? And I mean, obviously it's something we'll never know. I got it on the dance after Scott and Blair left. I got it on my first try after they left. And I mean, when I started to do the dance, they were still there kind of cleaning up and getting their bags and stuff. And that's when Tyler started freaking out, because he knew I was going to get it that try, because he was watching, and it's like, I knew once they got it, I was like, if I don't get it on this try, we're out. And it's like, you kind of have this weird, like, I felt like an out-of-body experience, because it was like, either get this time or you're going home.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, when he grabbed the bag, I jumped off the stage and grabbed the clue, and Tyler was still freaking out about the bag, and it's like, I said to him right away, I'm like, leave the bag, we're going. We can share clothes, we're leaving, I don't give a shit about your bag. Like, this is our only hope to catch them. And the theater had like 2 staircases going down each side. And when we were running down the one, Scott was coming back up the other with Tyler's bag. And I mean, we saw a lot of questions of people saying Scott should have just left the bag on the street and that sort of thing.
You can't do that. Like,
right.
First,
I mean,
clear it up for everybody. Like, if you mess with anyone's bag and you don't return it, there's precedent that you're gonna get a penalty. You're gonna get a penalty because the Globetrotters got it for messing with Christina and Ron's fanny pack back in season 18. Like, right. He had to give it to him. Like, if he did not, he would get a penalty.
Yeah. And
my question is for you, like, how far behind were they though when y'all hit the mat?
It was less than 100 meters, because you had to. And it's interesting. I wanted to ask Matt and Dana, watching that episode back, I need to text Matt and Dana and ask them where their cab driver dropped them off, because you kind of saw them, like, when all those first 4 teams were on the mat. It seemed like they came out of this weird area where no one else came from.
It came from like a bus. It just magically appeared.
Yeah, and it's like when he ramped the sidewalk, it's so hard to tell, because it's like, if our cab driver hadn't been leading us, I don't know where Scott and Blair's cab driver would have dropped them off, because once our guy ramped the sidewalk, their guy did the same thing. And the way that those bridges were set up, there was a little sidewalk path down underneath where the actual pit stop was. And I think the majority of the teams got dropped off, ran on that sidewalk, and then they go up the bridge, and then you come around down on that beautiful bridge, and you saw Phil there, and that's where they checked in. Well, when we got there and we finally got out of the cab, we saw their cab coming in, and we started freaking out, because you couldn't see Phil, you couldn't see the big cameras, you couldn't see the mics or anything. So, and there were two ways to get up there. There was this one like little stairwell, and then there was actually going up the bridge. And we actually ran backwards because we saw one of the other teams doing their exit like interview, and we thought those were the like actual cameras for the mat. So we went running up those stairs, and we like ran through one of the team's like exit interviews.
Doing that no shame.
Right. And we like ran through, and I'm like, if they're here doing their interviews, it's got to be close. And it's like we ran up the stairs and looped around, and then that's when we finally saw Phil, and Scott and Blair ended up following us up and going through. It was Matt and Dana's exit interview, and then we all saw where it was, and then we all realized we were probably supposed to come in the other way, just because it's a much better shot filming the bridge. But I mean, you were in full panic mode, and we had no idea where to go, and we just knew it was going to be close no matter what.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how, like, sometimes, I mean, you can't script this, just seeing Blair pick up the backpack and saying, you know,
I know.
I'm going to get my backpack on, and I'm going to pick up my dad's backpack, just for her to even say that, and then to have the backpack stuff happen.
Right.
I mean, she could have picked it up and not made a comment about it, but the fact that she was, like, excited that her dad was going to get it, they were going to get it out of there, and then it led to Tyler freaking out about, where's my bag? So, you know, my bag was right here, and I felt Tyler's pain because, look, what do? I mean, you don't want to leave everything because that's everything you have, but then, like you said, just forget about it. It's a race. We'll make do without it.
The thing is, when we went to the winery after switching detours and you get down and clean those things, you had to drop your bags where you changed into the big like boots and all the clothes and everything. And literally that same day, when we were leaving the winery, one of the production cameramen accidentally picked up Tyler's bag. So we had the exact same thing happen at the winery, and then finally one of the cameramen was like, oh, I'm sorry, I've got it. So I'm like, the fact that happened, Tyler thought someone was just like messing with him again when we were at the theater. It was a crazy day. Because literally,
how hilarious he was when that happened. On like a crazy dance mom where he's like, "Where's my bag? You got it, Korey. You're doing great. Where is my bag?
It was right here. It was right here. Right here. It was right here."
He was so worried because he screamed, like he was cussing at one point. We knew they weren't going to show that because they don't really like bleep contestants anymore. But he's like, "Where the F is my bag?" I mean, it was a stressful situation. We knew it was. Especially after it having just been a keep on racing leg, you knew someone was going home. You knew it. Well, there was no guessing.
It was awesome to see like races for first, races for last, and they're all like genuine. You don't have to edit as much, and it was definitely kept us on the edge of our seat.
It did make me cry though to see Scott go home. I mean, I cried when you guys hit the mat because you're one of my picks, and then it broke my heart to see Scott and Blair go home because they're one of my picks. But it was just emotional to see their relationship and their kind of race come to an end. And
if you watch the bonus clips online, they put up the extended like exit interview with both of our teams like on the mat. It's like I think it's almost 5 minutes. They had us there talking to each other forever, and I mean it was a very emotional thing. It's hearing about Scott and Blair's relationship. I mean, it's so admirable to see her that close with her dad, and they have such a strong like family bond, and it's you think about your family and that sort of thing, and at that point of the race we had been gone for almost 2 weeks, and it's like you knew like you're thinking about your family and everything. It was very emotional on the mat.
Well, too, like racing to the pit stop knowing that if you beat them you're sending them home essentially is, I mean, that's a tough thing to swallow because I'm sure you get close with people. I mean, we got close, and in situations like that, it stinks to feel like you're rooting against somebody to save yourself.
Yeah, it was like us with the cheerleaders. We knew it was us or them, and that was the team that we just really got close with, and it was like, damn, it's got to be between us. So we felt it, and if you guys haven't been watching the extra bonus clips, there's a lot of them on YouTube. If they're geo-blocked, just let me know, and I'll post it on the Facebook page. So if anybody's got any more comments, Korey, you're welcome to hang out as long as you want, but I know you're a busy guy. You can hang out for the whole thing, or you can go, but if anybody's got any last-minute questions, please submit them in the room. I have a question for you. Our secret like person we were scared of, the team that we didn't want to face in the end was Denise and James Earl. Who was that team for you that you did not want to face in the end?
I mean, at least for me, and I think Tyler and I were both on the same page. Like on day one, we thought, I mean, when you get to the hotel and you can see all the cast and everything, we thought Brody and Kurt would definitely be physical threats, and especially after having them outrun us in the Geneva leg, we knew obviously they were physical threats. And even though we did pretty much keep up with them, we did feel like they had a little bit of an edge physically. And then just Bernie and Ashley were such kind of very well-rounded players. We felt like not only were they physical, but they were also mental. So those were two of the teams that we kind of always were like watching out for and thinking, okay, please let them go home at some point, at least before us, because they are such threats. And I mean, everybody really surprised us this season. I mean, everyone was there to win, and everyone was really excited and passionate that they were even selected and that they were going to get a chance to do this. There was a lot in that second episode when I think it was the second or third episode when there was the unaired U-turn, double blind U-turn. It's like we were at the front of the pack that day with Brody and Kurt and Bernie and Ashley, and it's like we knew we had a good 2-hour lead on the rest of the teams, and I'm like, even if we U-turn Brody and Kurt or Bernie and Ashley, neither of them are going home. So there's no point in doing it and getting blood on our hands at this early state.
I hear you.
I feel like Justin disagrees with that.
I disagree with
it's a double blind U-turn. You have to use it. Zero. There's no excuse. You have to.
We were at the front of the pack. Everybody would have known it was us.
When it's a blind one, I still say you always use it.
Yeah, because there's always the fact
only
that
the top three
no.
teams can say who it was, and you could blame one of them. You could say it wasn't us. It's somebody else trying to cause drama. Nobody knows.
I have a horrible poker face. I'm a terrible liar. They would have seen right through me.
Like, you're a super fan. You got to know that.
We are Team America's sweethearts. We didn't want to.
Korey, are you and Tyler pushing this bloaty thing along, or?
Oh my God, absolutely.
Yeah. so you're kind of stirring the pot on each side, doing like, well, this is what he said about you. And then run and tell like in the schoolyard.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah. I mean, the producers really loved the whole like bloaty thing when it happened, and when I think when Tyler and I were discussing their like ship name, so to speak, and we came up with bloaty, it's like everybody immediately said how gross of a like name that was, which is exactly why we chose it and pushed it and ran with it. But it's like they were I'm sure every single cameraman was like, every producer was like asking all the teams about bloaty, and no one was giving them anything except for Tyler and I. We're like, oh yes, let us dish about what happened this week.
See, I love that, because I was that person too. Like, they were trying to push that a few times in our season, and I would just make up shit. I'd be like, oh yeah, totally, they're doing this and this and this. I'd tell them Phil on the mat.
We had no shame, and I mean, also it was funny. I mean, yes, they were being friendly and they were sitting by each other on the airplane and everything. But it's not like we're hiding anything, and it's at the end of the day, it's a race. I mean, and you're not spending all the time with that other team. So, I mean, I feel like they both just had crushes on each other, and so of course Tyler and I are going to egg that on and feed into it.
That's the way to do it. And now, who else was strategizing? Because you could clearly see that you guys are always thinking strategy, and it's hard to see what other teams were really like strategizing. Who do you think was the other team that was plotting the most or strategizing the most?
I feel like, I mean, like I said, a lot of these teams were really good. I mean, Brody and Kurt were always working at every airport. Bernie and Ashley were working at every airport. Aaron and Jocelyn, like every airport, doing every little thing they can do to research the cities that we're going to and that sort of thing. And it was interesting to see because we had so many, as you see this first 7 episodes, we have so many like bunch spots and equalizers, and it's when everyone's at an airport and we're all on the same flight no matter what. It was interesting to see who was like off at the computers like trying to do research and who was off scheming. So we were always kind of keeping our eyes on those 3 teams, and we were actually, I've told Aaron and Jocelyn this, we were relieved when they went home because we thought they were a good team, and they were one of those teams that was always working and always kind of strategizing, and it does kind of put you on edge. Like, what do they know that we don't know?
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. We had a couple teams that didn't do much research, that like slept a lot, so that was fun it was fun to know that people, all right, like, you don't have a chance because you're not even doing anything.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about you.
Yeah, and then the teams, like you said, that would be talking to people or
scheming the whole time.
So. We did a little bit of both. I mean, I think once we kind of had those first couple legs and did very well, it was like, we thought there's only so much research you can do. Let's not overthink anything and get any and kind of pigeonhole yourself in any way to kind of think, oh my God, we're absolutely going to this landmark. It's the biggest landmark in Dubai.
Right.
So I mean, we kind of, after the first couple legs when we hit our stride, we were like, okay, there's some work that can be done, but also you've got to be able to fly by the seat of your pants and just be able to adjust and maneuver when you need to.
Yeah, well, there were 2 times when we were researching things and like about to go to a place, and the producers would come up and say, yeah, there's just going to be like a lady waiting there. Like at the very end, it said like something about a lady in a red hat. So we're online and we're looking up Lady in the Red Hat in New York City, and we're like, okay, it's at this museum. It's the Red Hat Society. They're having a meeting, like they're having a lunch here, and really there was just going to be a lady standing at the airport with like a red hat. So they had we were all looking at different things, like. The producers, I guess, had to say, "Look, no, it's just there's gonna be some."
Just relax. There'll be some.
I know. Calm down.
I'm the opposite of the 3 of y'all. Like me and Mom, the only time we looked up stuff is like when we were forced to look up stuff. Like her and I were not one to research. We would just kind of just like chill at the airports and just like talk shit. Like,
oh my God, Justin never turned it off. Like we would be like on the airplane, and people like visiting a country would give him his tour book and. He'd be reading it. I mean, he never stopped. And for me, it was like, oh my God, I could kill him, but oh my God, he knows so much. He's such a good partner.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely Bernie and Ashley and Brody and Kurt were big on that too. And it's like you're sitting on the plane and you're like, what are they doing now? Oh my God. I'm like, can't we just sleep on this plane?
Right.
I'm like, it literally says. Get in the like marked car when you land at the airport. How much can you be researching?
Well, you gotta find an advantage any way you can. All right. So the question, there's a lot of people ask us, and I'm sure they ask you. So let's get it out there, Tyler. If you want to answer in the chat room, that's cool too. One, I know the answer to this one. Would you do the race again? And 2, would you do Survivor or Big Brother?
I would do any 3 of those in a heartbeat. If they called me right now and said, come do it.
Love it.
I mean, I grew up watching all 3 of the shows literally from the beginning. I've rewatched some of them too, obviously. But yeah, I watched every single one of them from the beginning. I was a huge Survivor fan. That's probably my number 1. People might hate me for saying that.
No, it's a number 1 show for a reason. It's huge.
But, I mean, honestly, all 3 of them are right there. When I finally met Phil, I was like, okay, now I've met Julie, Phil, and Jeff. Like, I've got the trifecta. I would do any of them in a heartbeat. Tyler and I were at the Big Brother finale last year and got to watch that live, which was cool. And, I mean, yeah, it was just always a family show. It's something I watched with my parents growing up, and it's like once I went to college and moved away, my mom still texts me, oh my God, did you see Survivor this week? Oh my God. And it's like she's freaking out too that I'm on the race. She's like, I never in a million years would have thought this actually would have happened. So it's fun. And we haven't told anybody anything as far as the race, and obviously we knew we survived this leg and the last leg, but it was so fun to have my parents freaking out and texting us and being like, what are you doing? Get your crap together.
Yeah, that is fun. Just really quick, speaking of Survivor, when Justin and I were at Reality Rally this past weekend, there was like a raffle, and one of the raffle things that you could put in for was like Survivor set pieces.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so don't you know, me and Justin, we win this like these big like this like metal milk jug that I think Rice went into.
They hold the 50 pounds of rice.
Yeah, it holds like 50 pounds of rice. This like wicker basket like and these other 3 baskets. So they call our name and we're all excited. We're like, yes, we have stuff from the set of Survivor, and then we look at each other. how the hell are we going to get this home? Like, I'm not leaving this here. I'm getting this home. But it was cool because we're big Amazing Race fans, but we also we also are huge Survivor fans as well.
Yeah. And so I told them, I said, I better have an in this year if I want to go to this Survivor finale. I'm going to be emailing every single casting person I know from the race and saying, okay, you can give me tickets to the Survivor finale this year.
They just squeeze you all in there.
Yeah, and speaking of finales, we haven't heard about yours yet, so you can text me off air and let us know what's going on if there's a finale.
Or he'll just invite himself.
Or I'll just invite myself.
I did.
You know.
Well, they announced the finale date, so you should at least have the dates on your calendar.
We do. We have the dates. We just don't have the place. We really appreciate you.
Very top secret. You know, we're very terribly famous social media.
You social media celebrities. I don't know what we're going to do.
It's going to be like Blair's house.
It's a VIP party. No, I'm kidding.
Well, we're going to have to get into the episode. If you want to hang out, we'd love to have you. If you got to go, we appreciate it. Appreciate the time that you spent with us.
I'll hang out for a little bit and see if Diana lays her smack down on us.
All right. So James Earl, take it away. You're leading this one.
All right. So teams started as a continuation from the last leg, and I wanted to point out before we even get started that for everyone watching, I know it's been a week since we've seen the episode, but you need to remember for the people racing, it hasn't stopped. So like all these decisions they're making are on like half a tank because they've already used up most of their energy on the last leg, and people forget that just as we haven't seen anything in a week. But teams are to take a train to Tbilisi. I can never say these names right. Tbilisi, Georgia, and find the statue of St. George. So all the teams are back together on the same train. It looks like.
Yep, another bunch point heading to the Dragon's Lair.
But you know, for teams like Sherry and Cole at the back of the pack, and no judgment because I've been that team, you love the bunch points when you're at the back of the pack.
Absolutely.
I will say in general, this episode had a lot of language barrier issues, and I think that affected a lot of the teams, unfortunately. But after teams make it to St. George, they get a clue that takes them to Narikala Fortress, and this is where some of those issues with the taxis and the language barrier start, from what I think. Because, for an example, when Scott and Blair are going up that hill, you see the taxi driver just like talking to them, like full sentences telling them like instructions like, I can't go any further, you need to get out, you need to walk the rest of the hill.
His car couldn't make it up the hill.
Yeah.
I thought we'd be so upset. Like, what do you mean I got to run up the hill? Push the gas and go around.
I mean, I can't say I would be happy about walking up that hill. After that, teams get a clue that tells them to go to the Jafari Monastery, and I want to give Kurt a quick call out here, because when they get into the taxi to go to this place, the taxi driver, they ask how long, and the taxi driver says 30 minutes. They actually really like stop their taxi driver, pull out a map, and make sure he knows where they're going. Like, that's such a rock star move.
It is.
And that's why they've been consistently up in the front of the pack. It's little things like that that make all the difference. So, I mean, that's definitely on the list of superfan moves of the episode.
Again, they had a lot of route infos, which I like, because it gives a lot of the chance to catch up. Do you like that, Korey? I mean, like, we didn't, I feel like, have that many on ours where it was like you go to three different places before you even get to the Detour or Roadblock.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long drive too, and I mean, I think that's why a lot of teams did eventually have to stop for gas, because going to the monastery, it was forever, and it was this beautiful place, and you like can see it on the hill when you're driving up, and I'm like, oh sweet, the Detour or the Roadblock's going to be here. And it just was like the clue. It was like the deciding point. And then you had to leave. I was like, why can't we stay up on that hill? It was beautiful.
Yeah, the old castles and stuff is a beautiful city.
Yeah, and it was the same with Armenia. That check-in point at that temple was beautiful. And Tyler and I were literally there for 10 seconds because they wanted us out of the way because Sherry and Cole were less than 5 minutes behind us. And I'm like, I wanted to look around this place. It's really cool.
I hate that. Everybody acts like,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, I hate that because we did it for Paris. Like, I got to see Eiffel Tower ripping a clue. Like, oh my God, there it is. Okay, where do we go? And then that was it. It was gone. I mean, that's what you go to Paris to see, and I got to just, like, literally acknowledge it, and then I had to go.
Yeah. I will say that I think that the contrast between being in the front of the patch and the back of the patch is hilarious, because when you're in the front of the patch, you're like, God, this place is beautiful. I want to look around here, and then like shooing your way, and you're like, why? And at the back of the patch, I promise you, like you're just ripping the clue and like, Jesus, where am I going? Like, where's the next place?
You don't even know what's around you.
So at the Jabari Monastery, like Korey just said, it's the Detour decision point. Teams have a choice between clean or strain. At clean, they have to go to a winery and clean out this giant mud that had just fermented some wine. And at strain, teams have to go and strain 20 hazelnuts on a strain ×5, dip them in a sauce that they prepare, and get them approved by the judges. Spring team, which one would y'all have done?
Well, we talked about this, and she would have been indifferent about it, and if that was the case, then I would have probably gone with the cleaning, because that's something that I think that we could power through. If we use muscle strength, endurance, we could just get it done. Like, it's usually like those polishing tasks, where if it's just you do it right and you do it fast, and you can get through it, whereas the other one is judged, and it sounds like very attention to detail, which if she's not on that one, then we don't go to it. Like, if she's not like, oh, let's do that one, then I would definitely pick the other one.
I think Mom and I would have chosen clean too, just because, I mean, that's something both of us are good at. Both of us kind of neat for each, so I think that's what we have drawn to. Korey, I had a question for you, because we know that the string had a limited amount of stations, but it also looked like clean probably had a limited amount of stations as well. Is that true?
No, I was actually thinking that when I watched, I think it was your recap from last week, I was going to say every single detour except for... It was only like, except for Chamonix and maybe one other, has been split, where when you open the clue, each side has only had enough. So only 5 people could clean the wine, and only 4 people could make candy at a time. And I mean, yeah, you guys can keep talking. I'll think about it. I know Chamonix with the mountain climb in the tents, that one wasn't split. And there was like only one more. Every other clue, the same with the bread last week. The bread, only 3 people could make bread at a time, right. And I think only 6 teams could do the carpet at a time.
And that makes a big difference when you're trying to pick which detour you're going to. If you're 5th and you know 4 people could do one task, you can't pick that task. You have to pick the task that you know 5 people can do.
Sherry brought up a good point in the chat. She said if they say no, you clean more. For candy, you don't know what's wrong if they said no, but it did look like that they did say that there was no tip on one of them.
But they said it in their language.
Yeah, that was how they
right.
Hear what they were saying.
That's right. But then there was another task, I think, in the last episode or the episode before. I think it was a roadblock, and they said no, and what was wrong with it?
Yeah.
Which frustrated the hell out of me, because that
they never tell you what's wrong at all.
Maybe it was a mistake that the judge shouldn't have said what was wrong.
Right. No, I mean, they never tell you, and that was part of the frustrating part with the candy, is because we were looking at it, and ours looked, I mean, Zach and Rachel's were the best, like, better examples than what they showed us. Like, Zach and Rachel can do anything. They take to every task like they used to do it on weekends or something. But with the candy, Brody and I are, like, looking at the woman like, what's wrong with them? Like we had no idea, and that's also why part of the reason we wanted to switch, because to us, our candy looked identical to Bernie and Ashley's, and I'm like, what's wrong with ours? Why is theirs approved and ours isn't?
I feel like she was being very picky about a lot of things, like too picky almost.
Yeah, that's what I said. I got very sassy. I'm like, I'm glad they didn't show it. When they made me wash out that pot with the red stuff in it, I was like going through it, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this again.
It was the Swiss Army knife.
Like,
is where they told people what was wrong. They're like, you're missing a knife here. And I'm like, you're not supposed to say it. You're supposed to say no.
Right, and I was going to say, with the candy, another reason we switched was because that syrup itself took, I swear, like 20 to 30 minutes to even thicken up. And it's like, we had just started making our second batch, and I'm looking at Tyler, and I'm like, not only do my fingers hurt from stringing this, but it's going to be at least 30 minutes for us to make the goop. So I was like, maybe we can make up that amount of time by switching.
Well, Elena in the chat room asked, could you have used the thimble for this challenge? It didn't look like anybody tried, and it seems like the first thing you would like try to do is make
someone
some.
bring a thimble?
Like, who has a thimble in their backpack?
Well, not just a makeshift thimble.
I did see though how Bernie was threading them. Like Bernie had the needle down and then was just putting the
nut and using the table as the
hazelnut.
The base. We tried it every single way. I mean, we did the same thing. We tried 9 different ways, and it was cold that day. You can tell Tyler and I are wearing more layers, and it's like your hands were just frozen, and it's like you can only prick your fingers so many times.
Yeah.
Well, this led to some good drama.
Did you taste
really
the goop? Did you taste the goop?
Yeah, it was like, so after I like gooped mine and they looked awful, I was like putting my hand in the pot and like rubbing it down the side of the candy. Like we were a mess. It was all over. I was like, and then I was trying, it was sticking all over. I was trying to wipe it off on the sides of the table. I'm like, I ruined everything in their little shop. Like I felt
That's
bad.
why she was telling you were wrong. You got everything too messy. And she was like, no.
Oh, I was like, yeah, when she told me to go wash the pot in the sink, I was like, oh, is this where I go wash it over here? I was being so, like, such a bitch.
Yeah, but you could be like a nice bitch. Like
I mean, it was a little passive aggressive. It was fun. There were like cats running around that little shop, as you saw. It was
black
very
cats are not
weird.
good luck, by the way.
Oh, I know. My cameraman, like I said, when the cameramen are like filming you and like trying to make you mad and being like, oh, how does it feel to be in last place? Like, I don't know if you guys ever had any of your cameramen do that, but a couple times we did. They're like, and when we left the rug shop in Armenia, he's like, oh, how does it feel? You know, you're in last place right now. And it's like
never heard that. Sorry, no.
We never gave in to that at all, and I mean, it's like, I think that was one of the reasons why they were saying we always stayed so positive. It's like we refused to give in to that, and when we were struggling to make the candy, he came right over and he was like, hey, Korey, look at that black cat. Don't you think that's bad luck? And I'm like, I'm not giving you this. I'm like, nope, we're going to be just fine. We're going to do everything we can do today.
We'll have to exchange cameraman notes because there was one. There was one where it was after we came in first in Paris, and we pulled the ticket in the Netherlands, and we had like a 4-hour lead and turned into 15 minutes, and we just like sat there on a bench like this.
I was mad.
Yeah.
Justin was so mad, and our camera guy was like, "What, are you just gonna wear your poopy pants all day? You're just gonna be, you're just gonna wear." I mean, he was. Oh my God, he was.
They know how to poke the bear. Like, I'll send you a message. Kristen, I've already talked about. Some of the like cameramen, because she said the same thing. They're like, how does it feel to be in last place? It must really suck. Like, trying to like egg you on.
All right, before we move on, I just want to say the winner for the Snapchat contest is Pat Tad. Pat Tad, thank you very much. Check him out on Snapchat. Patrick Tadeo. If you don't know what I'm talking about, follow me on Snapchat. All right, go ahead, James. I'll continue.
So at this point, we have Sherry and Cole who chose clean, and essentially every other team chose stream. But the first 4 teams there are Tyler, Korey, Brody, Kurt, Zach, Rachel, Bernie, and Ashley, followed shortly behind Dana and Matt and Scott and Blair. And I have to say, I have some love for Dana and Matt later in the episode, but during this part, I feel like it was very messy, and I know we don't know all the information because I've tried to read up on their tweets and whatnot, but their decisions at this point were messy in my opinion. Because they get to this detour, they're like, well, we shouldn't do it, let's go to the other one. They get in the cab and go, and apparently they were in this cab for like 2 hours looking for this other detour. This is per Dana. And then they decide to turn around and go back to the original detour, and that's where they run into Tyler and Korey. And I know you explained this a little bit earlier, but the fact that, I never saw this, so maybe it did happen, the fact that they didn't go in and at least see that it was possible, and I don't know if they did or not, but they took y'all's word on it saying, oh, it's hard, let's just switch back to the other one. I fault them for that, and I don't know if they did go look, but I fault them for that, because if you had gone in, you would see that there's now, 2 empty stations, one from Tyler, and then the other, like Tyler and Korey that just left, and another one, which means 2 teams have completed it, so it's not impossible. So if you spent 2 hours using up time trying to find a detour, you need to get working, and it's how me and Mom decided to do that rap in Paris. Like, you have to do something, because doing nothing's not going to get you your next clue.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, I think they didn't run in and check. I mean, they knew, we told them there were 2 stations available. One thing that this show hasn't shown a whole lot this season is how closely we were working with Matt and Dana. I mean, they were our #1 allies that we shared information with. So, I mean, they weren't going to question whether we were deceiving them, and we completely weren't. And like I said, maybe in the back of my mind it was a little strategy to keep us together, but I mean, I thought it was also beneficial for them to at least know where we were and to kind of team up, try to work together, and see if we could get through one side of the detour. And we had told them, we're like, our cab driver knows where the winery is. If your guy just wants to follow us, he can take you there.
I'm not saying I fault, like y'all were trying to deceive them or that. I'm just saying, like, if you've wasted that much time trying to find something, you need to be working, like doing something. Like, it doesn't matter what detour, just be doing something.
Yeah,
you would have stayed with another team?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I would say, that you know that you're both going to start, but you know that you're both going to start this task at the same time, and if you think you can beat them, I don't know why they would think they could beat you, considering that you guys were pretty much beating the whole race. So that was the only way that I would be like, well, if I'm going to go up head-to-head, I don't want to go up head-to-head with somebody who's been beating me all the time. I'd probably stay. So. And
it was kind of like one of our things, like, we didn't want to follow anybody. So just to take somebody's word for it, that's something difficult. But like you said, if they were your closest group, I mean, we would have believed Kelsey and Joey if they had told us something, or another team. I mean, we believed Krista and Tiffany weren't lying to us.
Well, it worked out for you, and it worked out for them too, because they were having a bad leg until they got to the dance challenge.
Yeah. Right, and like I said, I just think it was a messy moment for them, and they're still doing great, and I don't think they've ever been in the bottom half of the race, really.
No, they've been in top 4 the whole time, I think.
Did they have? I have my little chart up here, but it was still a messy moment, and I still stand by that.
Yes.
Is that your new thing, messy moment?
Well, that's off camera.
You're terrible.
Oh, stop it. So we're on the detour here, and the biggest part of the detour for me was watching Sherry and Cole be the only ones at the task, and knowing that they have no idea where everyone is, and thinking they're in last place, and then as soon as they saw another team, they stepped up into another gear.
At another team, they saw.
As soon as they saw another team, they stepped into another gear, and they're staying at the top of the pack lately. So this is something that.
Well, yeah, they went from worst to first. Well, worst to first, worst to at least the top.
So.
I will say though, Sherry really took charge during this detour, and I loved it. Like. I noticed that she was like really directing, giving directions like, we need this stuff, let's do this, find the water, and it makes a difference when you have that leader on the team.
I feel like she's trying to make up for the last leg.
At this point, we loved Sherry and Cole, and we knew Tyler and I. It's like when you go into a detour decision, you kind of always wonder. I don't know, maybe at least for, I don't know if you guys did, but for us, we would always kind of think, what are the other teams going to choose? At this point, we knew what Sherry and Cole were gonna pick, like each week. It was so like you always knew which one they were gonna do, which was so nice for us, because I'm like, I read it and I'm like, oh, Sherry and Cole are gonna go clean for sure. So it was always kind of like, do you want to go with Sherry and Cole? Do you think you can beat Sherry and Cole? But I mean, she had told us at one of the first airports, like their strategy as far as picking the clues, and it's like you just always knew what they were going to pick, and I knew when we saw the cleaning that they for sure were going to go do that.
Well, I found out a lot of interesting information on this episode. So the detour ends up. I'm sorry, I don't have the order in front of me. On who left the
you talking about leaving the detour? I do. So Zach and Rachel left first, followed by Bernie and Ashley, Kurt Brody, Sherry and Cole, Stott and Blair, Matt and Dana, and then last but not least, Tyler and Korey.
So I'm sorry. Who'd you say was in first place? I'm sorry.
It was a tie for last.
Okay, sorry, tie for last. But like I said, it says currently being last. Been there. Promise you, no judgment, no shade. Justin, you know what? Zach and Rachel, yes, they left first. They did.
Yes, they are getting better every week. My pick to win.
Well,
just saying.
I still think they have I still think that team has some issues, but this episode, they do, and every team has issues. Here's the thing. I am trying to just be objective when I talk about these teams.
Of course.
I've been there. I promise you, I've been that messy team before. Paris, we had our messy moments. Like, messy moments with James are on Paris. But Zach and Rachel did step up this leg. So teams left the detour and got a clue to go to the Rasta Valley National Theater. when they got there, they had a roadblock that's who's light on their feet. Essentially, in this challenge, team would learn a Georgian freaking ballet dance, which I don't know what type of it was ballet, wasn't it?
Yeah, they said ballet, but that looked more like tap or stomp, the stomp yard.
I would have cried.
The teams that chose this are the members that are doing this are Zach, Ashley, Kurt, Sherry, Dana, Korey, and Scott. One thing I want to point out before we get too far into this, Kurt is maxed out on roadblocks. Did y'all realize that?
I did not at this point, but
I was wanting someone to bring that up.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and no judgment. A lot of people online are giving Sherry, and who else are they giving smat to?
Tyler.
Sherry, Tyler, and Blair. They're saying, why aren't Cole, Tyler, and Blair? Why aren't they doing more roadblocks? And then you have another team that's 5-2 right now.
Right.
But because they're winning, nobody cares.
I love all the teams, like I said, but I saw the same thing when people were kind of giving Blair and Sherry and Tyler some crap. I'm like, it's an odd number leg, so it's going to be 3 to 4 somehow. But I'm like, nobody wants to talk about Kurt's done 5 roadblocks and Brody's done 2.
Oh, nothing just by me. I try to do my research and all this. But
that's why we love him. That's why we love him.
Thank you. We were talking about it on the race. I remember we were sitting with the dancers, and I'm like, has Kurt really done 5 roadblocks at this point? What is going on with their team?
Michael in the group, he brought up about Phil trolling. And I said that to Justin because he popped up, I think, 3 times in this episode when you guys were getting clues. And I said, how distracted would I be if, Phil's there and you're trying to read something.
And he's practically touching you.
Yeah, he was so close to you.
You want to know the best thing?
Yeah.
We had no idea we were in first place because the boys went down the gondola before us, and we didn't realize they were sitting in that cab, trying to figure out where they were going. Our guy came so fast into that, he literally almost hit Phil with the car. Phil and camera crew were scrambling like mice. He came into that parking lot so fast, and our cameramen are like, what is going on? He just almost ran right over Phil because he drove us right up to where the clue box was.
You did have the best cab driver.
He saved us. I owe him at least a little bit of a tip because we gave him all of our money when we left that day.
I'm going to say, he tipped you on the race, so he deserved it.
And big props to Kurt for knowing how to salsa. Who would have thought that was one of his hidden skills?
Not even just salsa, 10 years salsa.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah. Kurt was everyone on the race was saying, we all said it about Zach and Rachel being able to do anything. Kurt could also do anything. These people were incredible at picking up just these little tasks and being able to do these little things. It was so interesting to watch how good people were at these little random tasks.
I thought Zach would struggle with this one. He doesn't look like the type that'd be a big dancer, but again...
I think he said he had taken dance too as a child. Zach's childhood, he was one of those people whose family didn't let him watch a whole lot of TV when he was really little. So it's he did all this other stuff. He made rugs in Armenia and learned how to dance the Russian ballet.
I have a question for you, Korey. Sorry. When we got to the roadblock, Scott and Blair were actually last to the roadblock. How did y'all and Dana and Matt pass them?
That's what it's you honestly never know, and I know that they text updates about where the teams are. I was surprised that it said Scott and Blair were done with the candy before us and Matt and Dana. Again, we have no idea, and maybe our location ended up being a little bit closer to the ballet. I have no idea, but like I said, you had to drop off either a box of wine or a box of candy at this little store before you got the clue to go to the theater anyway. I have no idea, and we were there probably 10 to 15 minutes before Scott and Blair showed up because when I ran over to get my hat and my shoes, I saw Scott and Blair's were still on the ground. So I said to Tyler right then, I said, we're not in last because their shoes are still here on the ground.
Wow.
And I also wanted to say, it's so funny to watch all these teams know exactly it said, like, who's light on their feet? And everyone was like, yay, a dancing challenge. Like, Tyler and I were in this weird, like, blackout stage where we're, like, sitting there and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's balance. And, like, Tyler's big fear the whole time was, like, doing anything balance related. And he's like, light on your feet. Maybe you're, like, balancing on wires. Maybe you're, like, doing this. Like, Tyler was our dance person. He was supposed to do any dance challenge that we encountered.
No.
It was never going to be me. And we literally thought it was going to be something like your guys' 11th leg where they were jumping off the boat or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, when I opened it and saw it was dance, I was like, oh my God. I'm sure it was like one of the very few times there was sheer terror in my eyes when I read a clue on the race.
Yeah, that's,
but it just goes to show you like how nerve-wracking Roadblocks can be, because you never really know what it is. Like, you can maybe have some idea, but you never really know.
Yeah, ours was like, who wants to get sideways? That was a dancing thing. I had no idea. I thought, like, okay, I'd have to walk. I didn't think it would be dancing.
Right, and at least with us at this point, we had just kind of been switching every other just to try to keep it even.
I will say I have a few thoughts about this Roadblock in general. Justin, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I have to give Dana props. I have to make sure I give Dana props on this, because for the past 2 weeks I've been talking about how hard this dance challenge looks because of like how quick and how flustered she looked during the dance during that little preview. I will say that is just the dance. That is just how that dance looks. Even the professional people looks like that. Dana actually killed it. And I have to give her credit. And a lot of people online are giving her smack, being like, it's not fair. It's a dance challenge. Of course she's going to do well. You can't fault someone for having a skill set coming into the race. Like, that's not fair.
It's just like somebody that's good at puzzles, somebody that's a better swimmer, somebody that's a better runner.
Right.
Everybody's skill set is different.
Yeah, so, I mean, you had a throwing disc challenge and you got frisbee guys. Like, I mean, it's just part of what happens.
Good luck finding tasks that somebody's not skilled at doing.
Yeah, everybody's got to be skilled.
She knew I was struggling with my instructor, and like Dana wanted to come back and teach me how to do the dance, because like I said, we had been working with them a lot at this point, and we had literally led them to the Detour. They would have been lost, or at least they would have been making candy. But it's like she wanted to come teach me the dance because she knew my instructor was like over it and like.
Oh, that is so adorable. Why didn't we see those moments from Dana?
I know.
Yeah, like, she's not getting a great edit, that's for sure.
No, but I did like her moment when she was like, "I just needed to dance today," and I think that I think hopefully next episode that they'll highlight her in a more positive light or in a better way. But it was just really cute how she was just like, it almost seemed like she's been in a funk, and getting to dance is like bringing her out of that. That she just needed to be herself for a moment and dance. And
yeah, I hope so. I hope that's what happens.
That's exactly what I said to her, too. I texted her after the episode aired, and I said the whole scene of her just saying maybe I needed to dance was so touching, and it was so admirable in a way because she's someone who's following her passions and she knows what she loves in life, and to me, that's the kind of friends I want to have, is people who follow their passions. I mean, that was such an endearing moment. I teared up watching her say that because the smile on her face that she got to dance that day was so, like, impactful for me. Like, I was just blown away by that moment for her. And whether she meant it for people to kind of feel that, I mean, or if she was just saying what was on her mind, I loved that moment with her.
Yeah, I felt it too, because after she did the dance too, she was kind of like, well, did I get it? Like, did you okay? It
was her best moment of the show so far.
I agree.
I mean, yeah.
I was seeing people too ask why Scott did the dance instead of Blair.
Because Blair hurt herself in Chamonix.
Yeah, Blair hurt her leg, and she had said to us a million times, especially once both teams checked in on the mat and we were standing there, I think Phil kind of asked her too why Scott did it and that sort of thing, and it's like she said she would still be there at that point. I mean, she was like, my legs were so tired, and I hurt my leg in Chamonix. A lot of people got injured in the snow, either slipping and falling or doing the paragliding, but yeah, she said her leg just wasn't feeling good and she felt like she would have been there forever. So,
and her dad stepped up. The thing is, her dad didn't do a bad job.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's like they had. I was surprised they didn't show any of that footage of how long Scott and I were there, but it's like it was just both of us in that room going over the steps over and over. Neither of us gave up. Neither of us sat down and cried. Neither of us got in an argument or yelled at our partner. I mean, Tyler and Blair were great. We couldn't even see them. They were in the other room, but we would hear them every once in a while yell, "You guys can do this. Keep trying." I mean, there was not a lot of drama or kind of tension that way. Both teams just weren't going to give up. So
my favorite moment of the whole show. Yeah, my favorite moment of the whole show is when Scott is talking about his daughter, and this is a guy who has, as a doctor, he's a lawyer who's accomplished more than most people's families accomplished, never mind individuals. And then he says she's done more at 15 than I've done at 50, and you could just see he was genuinely proud of his daughter, and that's something that I don't think that America understands about internet stars, is that they're entrepreneurs who are living the American dream, have literally taken the things that they love and created a business out of it. That's the American dream. Why is anybody like looking down or talking down upon us? And if you know how hard it is to create an online persona and continue up to put content on a regular basis, like, it's a talent, and everyone on this season has got a talent that people, I think, are just a little jealous of.
Yeah.
Ooh. I just want to put that out there.
Deep. Preach, brother.
I'm giving that the hair flip of the week since Christmas night.
Well, she's hustling to get back.
There's two things about the Roadblock I want to point out, and it's just for people whoever is on the future season of The Amazing Race. There's two lessons to be learned at these types of challenges, in my opinion. The first one is never quit during it, and Justin already said this once, but I really want to reiterate that. Don't quit during the performance. Fake it till you make it, because they may miss up and be like, "Yo, here's your clue," and you can just keep rolling. And Kurt did that a lot, unfortunately. He would just stop and jump off the stage. Stop.
Yeah.
And it would have been such a small thing that maybe he knew he did wrong, but the judges, they don't know that he's going to be more strict with himself that the judges would be.
That spot that they were showing, it was on the 4th or 5th 8 count. On the 8th, everybody stopped moving, and you had to freeze. It was the 8th count for that set. And that, I mean, I kept messing up there too, and I knew exactly that's when Kurt had stopped and jumped off the stage too. I think he was doing it because you were supposed to be completely still. I guess you're right. Don't take yourself out of it. Let the judge tell you that you didn't do it correctly. But Scott and I kept messing up at that part too, because your legs are moving so quickly, and then on that 8th count you had to rest, and everyone was messing up at that spot. And I know a lot of us, when we either stumbled or kind of tripped on that freeze point, just kind of gave up and said, "Okay, well, I'm done. I'm not going to finish out the dance at this point. Let me start from the beginning."
Right.
I still think you just have to keep powering through and just.
I agree. Let them tell you you're wrong.
Oh yes. Another one is too, and this is something. It's just a personal preference, and I don't have anyone to pick on particularly during this. But when you do have a challenge like this, where you have to perform on a main stage or off to the side. If there's no line, just keep going up. Just keep doing it over and over. Never go back to the practice room, because you never know when they're just going to give it to you. And even if there is a line, if it's just a short line, do it with them just on the floor, and then jump up on stage and do it when you're when your turn's up.
Yeah. That's some good stuff.
They kept sending Scott and I back to the practice room, especially when I ended up changing instructors twice, and it got to a point where we were going just back and forth trying in that main room, and that's why I think, they showed it and said we got it on our 6th and 7th try. I'm like, that was very kind of them. I think it was probably his 11th and my 12th.
I think they did the same thing for me and Mom in Paris. They said 18th. There's no way. It was probably 50.
So we get to this point, and the Roadblock is done, and everybody's rushing back, and the first 4 teams, they finish so close to each other, and the last group of teams finish so close to each other. The competitiveness in this season is really good. There's things that are missing, but there's things that are there that haven't been in other seasons, and I want people to see that and appreciate that. The races for first and last don't happen every year. They didn't happen on our season.
Your fault.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I think, honestly, in every episode, thus far, either first or last place was 5 minutes or less. Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
not always both, but one or the other was always within 5 minutes. And it's like some people complain about the equalizers and the flights all being the same thus far, but I mean, I think it makes for interesting finishes and races for first and last. So
Yeah, that's what they were made for. So it's working this season.
I'm glad it's the opposite of what our season was.
Right. So leaving the roadblock, teams finish in are the members that finish it are Ashley, Zach, Kurt, Dana, Sherry, Scott, quickly followed by Tyler. Or no, Korey. Sorry, mistake on my paper. Korey, I have to give you props for your little dance. So. You know, we have a few issues with Bernie and Ashley going to the pit stop. It seems like their taxi took them to the wrong place. They didn't know like that it was the right one, and then by the time they figured it out and got to it, Zach and Rachel beat them to the pit stop.
And Zach and Rachel, Bernie and Ashley are the two most consistent, like slow and steady. They don't want to pull too far ahead, don't want to pull too far back. They've been there.
They don't ruffle any feathers.
Yeah, and so I think this is where they start to rise up when the teams start getting eliminated and the consistent teams start doing it, and then the strong teams like Tyler and Korey start making their little mistakes. This is when those consistent teams can step ahead and push those teams aside. So
and to go with like the cab thing, it's like some days are a cab driver's first day on the job.
Yeah.
It's the most frustrating thing.
It's like, I'm sorry, you have one ballet opera house in your whole country. Can you take me there? You don't know where it is?
Like the bridge. How do you take you?
Well, did you see so the park was like one letter difference between the two names of the park, and some, I swear Bernie and Ashley told us also there were two bridges that were like peace bridges. I don't know. Our guy knew where he was going. You'll have to ask Bernie and Ashley, but I noticed on the screen when the woman was telling them the correct park, it was like one letter difference. So I don't know if their cab driver just misunderstood them. I mean, I saw everyone saying it was cabotage, so to speak. But I mean, he took them to a park with a very similar name. It's not like he was just lost driving around.
No, I mean, it happens. It happens to the best of us. It happened to Mom and me in India. They took us to another garden. Instead of the Metabod garden or whatever it was, they took us to something that looked almost similar. It happened.
Melissa in the group said that, it was a bummer for Bernie and Ashley that they lost first place, but they took it in stride. I mean, they weren't, upset at the mat. They were all congratulatory to Zach and Rachel. So
Bernie and Ashley, a steady, solid team. Like
I love them. That's how I thought we were going to be.
They're one of my picks.
They are so supportive.
Did you see they posted? I saw somebody post. I think it was like on Reddit somewhere. They said our season was the first season where the first 5 teams eliminated. None of them had ever finished in the top 3 in any of the other previous legs, which apparently is the only season it's ever happened. So
wow,
I think a lot of the remaining teams have been consistently toward the front of the race for the most part.
Well, there's 2 teams. What is Brody and Kurt and Dana and Matt? They've never been in the bottom half. Dana and Matt, technically, this led. They came in 4th, which is like middle of the pack. That's their worst.
Yeah, they've been solid. I mean, they're definitely work well together, and they're one picks from my pick, obviously my pick from the beginning. So I think that they're dancing together, and this being the dancing challenge, it's happening late in the season. They're hitting their stride at the right time, so this could be where they settle into their groove and fight till the end. I love seeing these teams be so strong, and then you got the one wild card team of Cole and Sherry, who you never know if they're going to be super strong or if they're going to be fall back in the pack. You never know.
Yeah, it's almost like on Survivor, they're the team with no alliance. Like, you don't know where they're going to go.
But they're staying alive. That's all that matters. Is you have to stay alive leg to leg, and they are.
All right, and next week's before we get to next week's, I'm sorry. Let's we get to the finish, and it's a race for the finish. Tyler and Korey are there, but Scott and Blair finished last, and a very sad. I got to go watch this extra footage because this footage made Diana and I both tear up. So I want to see the whole thing. We really enjoyed watching Scott and Blair, and it was that.
I did. It was one of my teams. I really like the relationship. I kind of have a thing. Like getting close to my dad, the older I get, I'm really trying to form that kind of relationship. So it was nice to see Scott and Blair just have that naturally from, I guess, growing up as long as they've been father and daughter. It was tough to see them go because they're one of my picks, but also because they have such a great relationship.
Yeah. James Earl, I know you're. He's a doctor, and then one of the reasons we moved it back to 7 is because he has to go to work at 8:30. So let's get your James Earl seal clap. I want to know who's getting it this episode because there's a couple people who are in the running. Who's getting it?
There are, but I'm gonna tell you my seal clap, and it's probably gonna be a surprise. Is actually going to Ashley this week for her dance. She killed it, and I have such a girl crush on Ashley, and it just keeps growing and growing. Like you have no idea. And she just attacked that challenge and did it with such confidence that it was kind of hot, and I loved it. It made me happy.
Nice. And I know
it was kind of hot.
I know you're waiting for this one, Korey, but Diana, who are you going to put in check in this episode?
Well, this is so hard for me now because putting somebody in check originated because you needed to be put in check, and it's tough because like no teams really had that headbutt thing that like deserves a check, but I'm going to just put Dana in check, but then I'm going to erase it because she redeems herself at the end with the dancing, and I just wanted to dance, but, you know, it kind of brought me back to the cab thing with you, how I thought you were being rude to the cab driver because they didn't understand us. So I just kind of had all sorts of flashbacks from Hong Kong, and it was traumatizing. So, Dana, you were in check, but I erased it because you did so good in the dance. So I still love you, and I still hope you guys do well.
Yeah, and I'm gonna actually give it to Kurt. I think Kurt has been carrying his team for the whole season, and he hasn't gotten enough credit for it. Kurt has been consistent and been the one who has a lot of different skills that I didn't expect him to have. So he's somebody who I expected their team to do well, but I didn't expect him to have those skills that he had, and he showed a lot of them today. The little details that make all of the differences during the race. So Kurt's gonna get it for many reasons during this episode. As a super fan mover of the episode.
Before we leave, I just wanted to point out, next week the previews look so good, Korey, with the self-drive. I'm jealous that we didn't get to drive, but I'm excited to see
it's back.
How disastrous it gets with you guys.
Well, yeah, that's what I was
Is this something you were looking forward to?
Was I looking forward to it?
Self-drive, or was it something you were scared of?
I mean, well, the clue said, like, land at the Dubai airport, whatever, and it said go to such and such parking lot and find the marked vehicle. So everybody knew driving was coming, and everyone's like, is it going to be automatic? Is it going to be manual? Like, what's going on?
It's going to be manual.
So I will let you guys wait to see what that is.
Yes.
But also, I'll tease a little something, because, again, it's like all the Cole haters out there saying Cole does nothing. Then they see Sherry driving. The clue was literally like, you have to be 21 years of age to drive. So Cole was not even old enough to drive the vehicle. So
yeah, he was drinking milk in the finale.
Anybody who's saying Cole's doing nothing and Sherry's doing everything, Cole was not allowed to drive the car, and we all kind of teased him when we got the clue, and it said, must be 21 to drive.
This is the episode that I heard about at the premiere when I was lucky enough to sneak into the premiere with you guys. This infamous gold bathing suit that a lot of people have been talking about is making its debut. They said it's even worse than those white bathing suits we wore in Rio. So
those gold bathing suits are tight. They are real tight.
They're snug. It's a little snug.
Yeah, they are. They're like strippers. They're like male stripper suits.
Everybody complained about theirs, and I was like, can I keep this?
Oh, we have like the guys in our cast still have their white shorts from Rio.
They told me I couldn't. I was pissed.
Our boys still have those white shorts. All the girls couldn't wait to ditch their bathing suits. The boys love their short white shorts.
I ditched mine.
There's a cute moment again with me and Dana in this episode coming up this week, and again, I hope they show it. I bet they probably won't because they take away all of my cute moments with Dana, but I'll let you guys know if it makes the cut.
All right, and I don't know any spoilers. I don't know anything, but from the superfan eye, it looks like there's going to be a fast forward in this next leg that Kurt and Brody got to race a camel, because that doesn't look like a speed bump or a roadblock task.
It's not a fast. I don't think it's a fast forward.
I think it looks like a fast forward task to me, so that's what I'm just going to say. I don't know any spoilers, and I'm sure there's spoilers out there that I already know. But
if it is a fast forward, multiple teams are going for it, so that'll be fun. But I don't think it's a fast forward.
All right, we'll see what happens. What else?
Dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So next week is going to be really cool. We have Uchenna is going to be joining us really quick. I don't know who from the season 28 cast is joining us just yet. There's a couple people who are interested, but we're going to have Uchenna, winner of season 7, the guy who beat Boston Rob. He's going to be on. He wants to talk about this class that he's having, so he'll be on at the end of the show. Korey, thank you so much for hanging out with us. You're
it was
awesome.
really fun talking to you, Korey.
This was so much fun. I want to start every morning like this.
Well, that's cool. Your cast has been very welcoming to us, and we really enjoy interviewing you guys every week.
And I'm glad you stuck around for the whole thing. It was fun.
Yeah. Makes us miss Krista a little less, but we still miss her.
Your hair flip was just as good.
Thank you. She taught me how to do it, so I was like, I've got to get this just right.
All right, so our doctor's got to get going. He's on call. We really appreciate each and every one of you. So please click like, subscribe, share. It all helps. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm not asking for anything but a little clicky click.
Armstone.
I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.